And just like that, it's basketball season for us. Welcome to the 2025 Lanierland Pick'em Show, the show that everybody wants to watch, see, hear, listen to. We have an array of cast members today, guys. I know it's been basketball season for a while, but we actually just put the exclamation point on football season. Welcome to the show, fellas. How you doing?
Exclamation point's correct. Like I'm still tired from the last 2 days. That was a two long, grueling days at the bins, and Wednesday night just did not pay off.
No, it didn't. 0-2 in the bins, man. Crazy. But hey, we need to talk basketball, and we need to talk this 66 Lanierland, not 67, but 66 Lanierland basketball tournament, guys. And our resident coach and now referee, apparently, as you can see, he has the stripes on. I don't know if we're going to call any technical fouls on you tonight, Coach, but you have seen most of these teams in action so far. Give us kind of the state of the union address on Hall County basketball.
Well, to appropriately kick us off, it's time to lace them up, D them up, shoot them up, dunk them. It's basketball season.
Come on.
Don't get me wrong. I'm still about some Georgia football. Go Dogs. But with that being said, it is basketball season. We are looking forward to Lanierland and kicking that off. Me and my son have had the pleasure to go gym to gym already. I've seen a lot of the teams here locally play. I think we're in for some highs and lows, we'll call it, this year in the 66 Lanierland tournament. I think there'll be some really competitive games. There'll be some good matchups as far as this year goes as you put the bracket up. So everybody take a look at the bracket, fill yours out. Nobody's winning $1 million if you get it all right. Bo, didn't want to pay me that much if I got mine right this year, so nobody else can have that fun either. So, but with that said, we kick off Saturday. I think there's some intriguing matchups on both sides, with graduation and so forth. But I feel like, the Bluff girls were in the championship last year, went on to win the state championship. I think they have a good chance to redeem themselves, we'll call it this year. Gainesville's been kind of right there the last few years. Their boys, who knows? They may be the team to beat this year, although the Bluff boys are playing well. Also, Flowery Branch boys have made some strides in the right direction. Also on the girls' side, Chestatee graduated several kids the last couple of years. Sutton does a great job, and I got to see them play. I think they play as hard as any girls, boys, whatever, play as hard as any team I've seen this year. So I think they're going to make some noise. I think it'll be a fun time. Please come on out. I know, Bo, you had said Saturday we kick off at the Bluff, I believe.
We do. We kick off at the Bluff on Saturday. And, of course, at 9 a.m. tip, Gainesville and East Hall, the number 4 and 5 seed in the bracket. Of course, last year we had two separate sites for day one or just for day one. And was it day two as well? Or is it day? Yeah, it was day two as well.
I tried to forget that. Plus,
I blocked that entire tournament out from memory last year. That just if that was an experiment, they should never try it again. It was awful seeing crowds split. If you got parents from one on each team, you had to decide where you were going to go. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, but the good thing is now we're in all one spot for day one. So 9 a.m. is when we tip off this tournament, and it goes all day long. And, of course, they have games 9, 10:30, noon, 1:30, 3, 4:30, 6, and 7:30. Obviously, all of those, Walker, are just suggested tip-off times.
Yeah, the only one that's going to tip off on time is that 9 a.m. game each day.
Are we sure about that, Walker?
Absolutely. How would you start a second later? Maybe you get the 10:30 in on time when we get to day 3 at Chestatee in those 7th place games. Both teams just trying to get out of there and not have to play in the play-in game. But I guarantee that the championship games on Tuesday when we take the air on FM 102.9 and AM 550 at 6 p.m., we won't be calling a basketball game at that point. Coach Pittman and I will start filling some time until we get the girls' championship underway at 6.
He's calling it already.
There you go. Oh, by the way, I'm sure you guys are curious. I broke out with my best dressed referee outfit today because I thought I might have to referee Bo and Jeff just in case they get to fight here on the computer. And then also, I'm kind of tired of whatever color I wear. We've got so many schools now. I get accused of cheering for one school over the other. So I just thought, I'll go black and white here with the ref and be impartial today.
I got a smoky gray or whatever you call this side, so I feel like I'm pretty neutral.
Coach, I just appreciate the fact that you're not throwing me in there with Bo and Jeff. You and I are the level-headed ones, and then Bo and Jeff are going to get after it a little bit. So you and I will both, try and keep this thing on the rails a little bit.
There you go. There you go. We don't want to be behind.
I think I'm offended because I'm just right, and I just don't understand why the rest of y'all just don't see it the way I see it. So that's usually my source of issue. I know I'm right, so the quicker y'all come to my side, the less arguing there is.
There have been multiple things in the text message thread over the past 5 days, Jeff, that you've been wrong about. But let's get into some picks, Bo.
We're rolling.
You know what? I'll get us started because I think Bo's working through some technical stuff on the audio side of this live stream. So why don't we start with the girls bracket, guys? And we can kind of dive in just a little bit on each team, coach, as we get going. But let's start with that first game that's going to tip us off on Saturday and get the 66th Lanierland underway. Gainesville and East Hall in the 4-5 matchup. Gainesville, the 5 seed, East Hall, the 4 seed. And the way that I've looked at it, coach, from the outside, obviously been way more focused on high school football as of late, but East Hall kind of a little sluggish out of the gates this season, and Gainesville seems to be picking up on the front foot here as we get going in 2025.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's hard in high school basketball when you graduate several kids. So East Hall graduated the Burst kid, and a couple other guards from last year. So they've had a hard time, as kids now are putting those roles, stepping up. So I'll go ahead and make the first pick. I feel like with Gainesville returning some of their good guard play and some of their post play, I'm going to go Gainesville girls in that first game while East Hall is continuing to find their footing.
Yeah, you're right, Coach. They graduated some key players. They're kind of young at some spots. They got a really, which I think could be an exciting player to watch coming up, their freshman point guard. But they're 0-8 coming into this. They've really kind of struggled, particularly offensively. I think, and I like Gainesville with their 3 guards. They're kind of a dark horse, I think, to make a run at this year. So yeah, give me Gainesville.
Yeah, I think Big Red just has too much going right now when they take the floor Saturday morning against an East Hall team, Jeff, like you said, that's struggling offensively, still trying to find themselves. I think Gainesville wins this one, and not to look at too far ahead into what I think is going to be all 4 of our semifinals on Monday at West Hall, but it could be a pretty fun semifinal, Bo.
Yeah, guys, I would agree with that. A really fun semifinal, but we got to get there first. I know you guys are talking about the Gainesville-East Hall matchup at that 9 a.m. game. I feel like Gainesville has some of the best guards in the tournament, and I feel like they are going to win this game. So give me a Big Red in this one.
Let's continue in the girls bracket, guys. We'll just move in order chronologically with the quarterfinal games. Let's go to noon start. The game 3 of the day, it's the 3-6 matchup between the 3rd-seeded Lions of Lakeview and the 6th-seeded Trojans of North Hall. This one's interesting, Coach Pittman, because I think both of these teams are very good offensively and have had their moments defensively as well.
Yeah, I think so. But again, with Lakeview, they graduated several good players, and I think had a couple kids that moved. Again, I like Ken. He does a good job with the girls and the team. They were super successful the last couple of years. But I tell you, I've got to see North Hall play a few times this year. And even though they're coming out with what we call the youth movement, if you will, last year and this year, they play really hard. It's a fast-paced game. They're going to press you from baseline to baseline. One thing I really like with any team, but one thing I did notice about North Hall girls, team chemistry is good. Nobody's selfish. They share the ball real well. So I'm actually going to go in that game with North Hall. Secret weapon there, is Randy Coleman has been at Lakeview the last few years. So, hey, he's got to see everything. So maybe he knows the inside scoop to help North Hall girls get over the top as well.
That could be, I think that might be the best opening girls game of the day. Because I'm like you, Coach. North Hall is one of the teams I've seen. I really liked what I saw from them. They took number 3 White County deep into the fourth quarter, had a shot to win that game, which would have made quite a statement, leading into Lanierland. Lakeview, look, they beat Banks County. I was a runner-up last year. State runner-up. They beat Roswell. They're 6-1, even with some of the changes. Gone is Dynasty Pittman, gone is Talia Gaither. That they drove that team to 2 state titles. So, but I'm like you, Coach. I feel like North Hall is my dark horse pick in this whole thing. Give me the Lady Trojans. I guess would be an upset.
See, this is where I'm at with this game because I've gone back and forth. I think North Hall might be the better offensive team, but I think Lakeview's the better defensive team. And of those 6 wins that they've had, Jeff, 5 of them by less than 6 points or less than 7 points, something like that. So if this is a close game, I like Lakeview to be able to, play a close game. I'm not sure that, Coach, with that youth movement that North Hall's had, that in a close scenario on this stage that the Trojans would be able to do it. I think it's going to be a close game, and for that reason, I'm going to take the Lions of Lakeview to knock off North Hall. Bo?
I'm here, guys.
Do we have Bo?
Yes, I'm here. Just trying to deal with some of the audio here. What? So we're on North.
By the way, in our live chat on YouTube, we have one Caleb Hutchins, who is, of course, touting his football pick'em championship from this year.
Stop.
It's basketball season, Caleb. But by the way, he's taking Gainesville girls to beat East Hall and Lakeview girls to beat North Hall. Not sure if Bo's tech issues are fixed.
Yeah, I think we're good now. I think we're good.
Shot him a text just to see if everything's okay there in Coal Mountain. But we can move on to the 3 p.m. game on the girls' side. It's in the 2-7 matchup. It'll be on the Cherokee Bluff home floor as those last year runner-up and defending 3A state champ Lady Bears take on the Lady Falcons of Flowery Branch in a cross-district rivalry there down in Flowery Branch, Coach Pittman. And rivalry aside, I think, Cherokee Bluff may have some of the most experienced players in this tournament.
Oh, yeah. So they returned most everybody from the state championship team last year. And, with Kirsch and Carlson, 2 of the best guards, I believe, in North Georgia. So the last couple of weeks, if you looked at their scores on Max Preps, I don't really think that's very it doesn't represent their team very well, because they've had, the one thing about Cherokee Bluff is they have so many girls that are very good at other things. So they've got soccer, softball, cheerleading, basketball. It's a plethora of talent in many sports. So I did check with a few of my inside folks, and I believe the entire roster will be available for Lanierland instead of traveling all over the country, appearing in other sports. So with that being said, and to your point, Walker, I feel like the Bluff is just going to be too strong for the Branch. Like I said, I think Kirsch, even though she's going to play at the highest level in soccer, just from mere enjoyment and fun to watch players, she might be on any given night one of the best guards in North Georgia, I would say. So I'm got the Bluff advancing there from round 1.
Here is my take on this. If Bluff, as you say, Coach, is 100%, i.e., if Bristol Kirsch is going to play, they're obviously going to be the team to beat. Defending state champs, a fantastic roster. However, if for some reason they do not have a full complement roster, I don't know, but I do know this Flowery Branch much improved. Um, with Tyler at the helm now of the Lady Falcons, they've already matched their entire win total from last year. I think they'll be far more competitive. I, Bluff will have too much. Bluff will win this game, but it depends on if we have a full Bluff or not. If it's not a full complement of Bluff players, it could be closer than we think. But if Kirsch is playing and Howie Wilson is available, I don't see Flowery Branch being able to knock them off. So give me the Bluff.
And I think we're leaving out that they're playing on their home floor. There's going to be obviously a lot of people in the building, but familiarity with the gym. I know that may be overstated at some points, but I think that's something to take into consideration here as well. When Bristol Kirsch is firing in her home gym, I mean, she's almost unstoppable. So I like Cherokee Bluff to advance. I think that this game, like you said, Jeff, has the potential to be close if you don't have Kirsch, if you don't have Carlson. But I think that Cherokee Bluff, regardless, gets the win in this one. We go to the final quarterfinal matchup. By the way, Caleb takes Cherokee Bluff as well. We go to the final quarterfinal matchup with the reigning champs in Chestatee taking on the winners of the play-in game, West Hall, who knocked off Johnson in that play-in game just last weekend, Coach. And the Lady War Eagles had a lot last year that graduated, but Coach Sutton Shirley has plenty of weapons still in the tank.
Yeah, but first let me say this. I was able to get down to West Hall and see their boys and girls play. Really, I want to commend the new staff for the West Hall girls. They've done a great job. I feel like they're much improved.
Very much improved.
I think they have things going in the right direction. Just got to continue to work on, their skill sets and things like that. But I thought, they did a pretty good job. The effort was really good and so forth. Now, with this game against Chestatee, I don't know. The culture there, once you establish a winning culture, which they have done, and they won the Lanierland last year. So obviously, and Sutton does what I think a great job. West Hall's not going to have enough in the tank to beat Chestatee in that first round game. But I do think Chestatee, as y'all said, still has several options, and I think they have a chance to maybe get back in the championship game. We'll see.
Jeff?
Oh, yeah, Coach, I don't think I could have stated it any better. West Hall absolutely much improved with our old buddy Robbie Bailey. We saw what he did with the White County girls. This is like his second or third stint at West Hall over the years. So he very familiar, with the area, the kind of talent that they have. And I believe that they're going to continue to get better throughout the season. I really believe that. Now, are they going to be a factor in 8-3-8? I don't know, because it's brutally tough. But they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to be competitive in this game. I do believe Chestatee's going to have too much. They have the experience of the girls that were on the team last year. They have Allie J. Bull, and I think when you have Allie J. Bull, I think you're going to be a favorite in this particular game. So give me the Lady War Eagles. But I tell you, West Hall is a team I think we need to kind of keep an eye on throughout the season. I think they're going to continue to get better as Coach Bailey gets them competitive again.
Well, and in games where, again, I'm taking Chestatee as well for all the reasons you've said, but for the Lady Spartans, you get into that fifth place bracket and you take on potentially an East Hall or potentially a Flowery Branch, and teams that are still trying to find themselves, still improving as well. I think that West Hall could see some success and be really competitive in those games moving in through the fifth place bracket. So give me Chestatee to advance to the semifinals. Caleb also takes Chestatee as well. So let's go to the semifinals in the girls' side. Let's stay over there. I believe all of us had Chestatee versus Gainesville. Well, yeah, let's stay on the top side of the bracket, even though it's not chronological. Let's stay on the top side. All of us, I believe, had Chestatee and Gainesville. So, Coach Pittman, start us off.
Well, let's see here. when I always scouted and so forth, I just wrote numbers down. So I did try to pull up some rosters, and you guys can help me as well. But I think that's going to be a really good basketball game there on Monday at West Hall. I was kind of torn on who I'm picking in that game, but after I did get to see both teams play. And like I said, right now, out of everybody I've seen play this entire season, I think the Chestatee girls play as hard as anybody, and they play a really good team basketball. Like Allie J, as you mentioned, she's going to be the star. She's going to be who Jeff writes about on Access all the time and that kind of stuff. But when I saw them play the other night, they played White County and they hit a few shots, and I think they could have beat White County, who going into the game I believe was 8-0, and Chestatee was 3-3. So um, the girls just play so hard. I think Sutton does a great job as well. He gets the most out of his group. Boyd, I noticed the other night, did not play. So I think she will maybe be off the injured reserve, back in the lineup for Lanierland, which she would have been a huge help against White County the other night. So she could have maybe knocked down some of those shots. Gainesville, though, there's two kids, guards, number 1 and number 3.
You're talking about Shaylin Jones and Jocelyn Smith.
Okay,
They have a third guard as well. I think that's Coach. I think I know where you're going with that. But yes,
yeah, those two guards are really good. They're really quick. They add a lot of pressure on the defensive side. That may give Chestatee a tough time handling that pressure. But all in all, I feel like Chestatee is going to get the 50-50 ball. They just play so hard. They've been there, done that. I'm going with Chestatee to come out victorious in a really close game.
So when I said in the first round that I thought that North Hall Lakeview might be the best single game of that particular day, this could be the best game of the day in the semifinal round on the girls' side because I feel like this is an even matchup. This is, if you like guard play, this is your game right here. You're going to have guards all over the place. Chestatee has shown over the years they can handle pressure. And I think that's where Gainesville will try. If Chesatee's able to break that press, I see them being able to shoot Gainesville out of that to a certain degree. But if Chesatee's such a streaky team, if they're shooting well, they can beat anybody. And if they're not shooting well, they can lose to anybody. So, but I feel like Gainesville is a team kind of on the rise. And this is it's become a pretty good rivalry in Lanierland the last few years. I'm going to take Gainesville. I think in an upset. I'm not. It's an upset just based purely on the seeding, but I think when you look at these teams, Chestatee, they had some holes to fill. They're still trying to figure it out. I think Gainesville knows what they have and where they are. So give me Gainesville. I think the speed of Gainesville will be the ultimate difference.
By the way, this is the 6 p.m. game in on Monday at West Hall. That would be the third semifinal of the day. And when I say that defense travels, I think that, to your point, Coach, Chestatee is a team that is gritty, and they do the little things on the defensive side. Not to say that Gainesville isn't very good defensively, but Chestatee and Coach Shirley, they have the little things down, and they're on the floor all the time and going after loose balls here and there, and really putting a lot of pressure on you in the half court. So uh, even if Chestatee isn't shooting the ball well, because it's such a guard oriented game, this matchup, I think that the defense is what wins the game. And for that reason, I take LWE to take down Big Red in that first semifinal game. Caleb Hutchins taking Gainesville to move to the championship as well. The other semifinal.
We're split down the middle on that one. That was
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The other semifinal game, it'll be 3 p.m. on Monday at West Hall. Again, that will be on 94.5 The Lake Monday afternoon. We're split on this one. We'll go with you guys first. I believe you guys each had North Hall taking on Cherokee Bluff in what would be a 2-6 matchup, Coach Pittman, in that first semifinal game of the day.
Yeah. And, like I say, North Hall, I feel like, is really coming on. They got a lot of freshmen and sophomores. Every time they play, they seem to get better. The pressure defense is really good. They're gonna press you when you get off the bus. But unfortunately, they're gonna press the best guard in North Georgia, her and her teammates there, and you know I don't think you're going to beat Bluff with the pressure. You're going to have to either outscore them or, figure out some way to scheme up some different defenses in the half court, in my opinion. So I think with Kirsch, Carlson, and the rest of the team there for the Lady Bears, I think they advance to the championship game.
Coach, I'm going to pretty much recite everything you just said. I look. What did we see last year in their run to the state title? Teams tried to press them. They were able to get out of that, and that created so many open lanes and shots. And even when they did it, they weren't able to necessarily get some space. You had Kirsch and you had Carlson that could shoot you out of trouble. So for that reason, I also like Bluff to beat North Hall in this game. If North Hall is able to do some things defensively and hit some shots, this could be an interesting game. Maybe go into the fourth quarter, but I see Bluff eventually just kind of pulling away down the stretch.
Caleb and I both had Cherokee, Bluff, and Lakeview in this game in the 2-3 matchup. Caleb taking the Lady Bears in this one, and I tend to agree. I think that to the point that I made with the Lakeview beating North Hall, close game, I like Lakeview, but I think Cherokee Bluff just has so many weapons to make this high scoring, and Lakeview hasn't had that high scoring game yet. And I just don't know that this is the space that they do that. I think Cherokee Bluff is going to be able to get things rolling, Bo. And yeah, we can hear you. That's
Hey,
a nice sound to have.
I was about to put in a wellness check on you, Bo.
I was texting him the whole time. We were all good. I like the Lady Bears. Bo, let's get your quick semifinal picks on the girls' side. That's where we just finished up.
Yes.
Well, Bo, I don't think you're coming through on the live stream, so you may not be fixed yet. Yeah, we'll continue on, and we'll get to Bo's picks of the girls bracket here momentarily. Bo Wilson might be back with us here in just a few moments. If you heard the silence there on the live stream, that's why Bo was talking. We could hear him, but you guys couldn't out there in virtual Lanierland. So let's go to the championship game, guys, on the girls' side, and then we'll hopefully get Bo's picks before we move to the boys' side. I think everybody had. No, we were split. Everybody had the Bluff, but we were split on the top side.
That's correct.
So let's go, Coach, with you. You had, I believe, Chestatee taking on the Bluff in a rematch from last year.
Yeah, that's correct. Um, I think that's going to be a really good contest. The rematch, round two, if you will. And I think Chestatee is going to be, I think it's going to be a close game. But at the end of the day, just like if you watch the Bluffs or you followed their journey to the state championship last year, it seemed like, yes, they have the stars that everybody's writing about on Access North Georgia. But it seemed to me like that every round, somebody else stepped up and made big buckets or contributed in some kind of way. So, yes, everybody knows Kirsch, everybody knows Carlson and that kind of thing. But there were other girls throughout the state run. In fact, in the state championship game, it's crazy that I'm going to say this, so I'm sorry because I just don't know all their names. But the little girl that's also there she is, Emery, I believe, also the cheerleader, correct? I think.
Emery Jones. Yep.
I think she had 12 points. She couldn't miss in the state championship game. She hit, I don't know, 5 or 6 like mid-range jump shots, which who even shoots a mid-range jump shot anymore, but they were big. I thought she put them over the top. So with that being said, Allie J and the other girls at Chestatee, I think they're going to have a great effort as always. Sutton, who knows what he's going to scheme up defensively there against the Bluff. I think it'll be a great game to watch. I think the Bluff just has too many options, and they take home the gold ball.
Yeah,
Well,
Jeff, I'm going to go next because I had the same matchup that Coach Pittman did, and then
okay,
I'll
you
get
go
to
ahead.
you
Yeah, absolutely.
and Caleb with Cherokee Bluff and Gainesville. I tend to agree with you on a lot of things there, Coach. This game last year came down to the wire. If you recall, this game was nip and tuck the entire way before Chestatee kind of pulled away there a little bit in the fourth quarter and put some distance in between them and Cherokee Bluff. And I think that this is a very similar game. I like that Cherokee Bluff has the experience at guard, but here's the thing: this game's being played at Chestatee, and again, familiar gym to Chestatee. They're going to have the home fans there for sure. I'm going to take the Lady War Eagles to go back to back and knock off Cherokee Bluff for a second straight year, this time winning it on their home floor in Murrayville. Now, Jeff, you and Caleb both had Bluff taking on Gainesville in the championship, Caleb Hutchins taking the Lady Bears. Let's hear your thoughts on that potential matchup.
Well, first of all, to your pick, Walker, that has definitely not been the trend of late. No one has repeated on the girls' side since 2018
Mm-hmm.
when Flowery Branch won 4 straight. So the fact that you're looking for a back-to-back champion, that's quite interesting. Nobody's been able to do it. This game last year, I know that I have Gainesville and Cherokee Bluff in the finals. Cherokee Bluff last year, when you look at their season, like you mentioned, their run to the state title, early in the season, they were kind of all over the place. They were still trying to figure themselves out. I don't think that they were quite the team during Lanierland that they were from the region tournament all the way to the state final. They had figured out their identity. They figured out how they wanted to play, who was going to be in rotations. They had not figured this out last year in Lanierland, which is why I think Chestatee beat them. I think most of us thought Cherokee Bluff was probably the better team, but Chestatee was able to knock them off because Chestatee does what Chestatee does. This year, and I think Bluff, is going to remember, they're going to have, in my bracket, they have Gainesville. I just think that the matchup, not a great matchup for Gainesville. I think that Bluff can match Gainesville guard play. They're probably going to be a little better shooting team than Gainesville. They can handle the press. I'm going to take Bluff in this. I think they win this in the finals. I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy game, but I just think it's a good matchup for Bluff. That I'm going to take the Lady Bears to get their first ever Lanierland.
Should be an interesting girls bracket to be sure. Guys, we're going to step aside momentarily. We're going to see if we can't get Bo's audio fixed by restarting some things on the technical side. When we return, we'll get into the boys bracket and make our picks